with Hagar USA and Catherine, my colleagues here as well. And we are so thrilled to be on this live with Daphne. She is with One Day's Wages. And Daphne, I'm just going to let you jump in right away and explain a bit about why we're here today and who One Day's Wages is.
Sure. Thanks, Amy. Thanks for having me on. So, One Day's Wages is a nonprofit organization with a mission to end extreme poverty by elevating the work of local leaders in under-resourced communities around the world. And we do this, we partner by offering matching grants for poverty alleviation projects. And we also offer opportunities for mutual learning and networking among our partners as well. Something unique about One Day's Wages is that our name is also an ask. So we ask our community of supporters, the people who give money to One Day's Wages, to donate 1 day of their annual wage. And then in turn, we carefully identify partners that align with our values and are working in communities where a majority of people are living under the international poverty line, which right now is $2.15 a day. And in our work and in our partnerships, there are 12 different issue funds that we support. All of these issues intersect with poverty in different ways. And one of these issues is human trafficking. As I'm sure a lot of you are aware, there's such a close correlation between poverty and trafficking. Poverty is a root cause of trafficking, and traffickers tend to target and exploit people wanting to escape extreme poverty. So they're very closely related issues. So we're very compelled by and excited about Hagar's work for two main reasons, really. One is that the work in Afghanistan is led by an entirely local team who knows the context really well. Given that the situation in Afghanistan right now is so complex and difficult for nonprofits to operate in, Hagar's team in Kabul, from my understanding, is one of the few that has that relational capital to keep the work going, even during a really, really difficult time. And then a second reason is just that the need in Afghanistan is immense right now. As of 2 years ago, Afghanistan ranked 183 out of 193 countries on the Human Development Index, which is a measure of various health and educational outcomes and standard of living. And so even at that time, it was among the lowest in the world in terms of those standard of living outcomes. And then it's been difficult since the Taliban assumed power in 2021. It has been really difficult to get accurate statistics at what's going on. But various reports all agree that the levels of poverty and exploitation have just skyrocketed since that time. The United Nations recently estimated that right now there are 23 million Afghans, which is over half the population, in need of urgent humanitarian assistance. So there's really a dire need. And because poverty drives trafficking, and because Hagar operates the only recovery home for boys who are survivors of trafficking in Afghanistan, we see this partnership as one that's incredibly timely and strategic for everyone who's involved in the partnership.
Thanks, Daphne. Right now, Hagar is, we are really privileged to be in partnership with One Day's Wages to work on this boys recovery program in Afghanistan. And this is a matching grant through One Day's Wages. And so through our work with our audience and our donor base here in the States, we are working to raise half of those funds. And then those gifts will be matched by One Day's Wages to maximize and to double that impact in Afghanistan. So it's a really exciting partnership and one we're really, really grateful for. Catherine, maybe you can explain it. You've had the most experience in collaborating with the Afghan team. Maybe you can explain a little bit what the boys recovery program actually looks like in
Yeah, sure.
Kabul.
Our boys recovery program is called Forgotten No More, or they call it F&M. And it's really that. It's to show that boys who are survivors of this type of abuse are forgotten no more forever. So they come into the program and there's a shelter, and then the team work with them. There's house mothers, house fathers, counselors, case managers, um, take them to the doctor, the whole, what we call the whole journey. And there are boys that have been in the program for 5+ years because it's difficult to reintegrate back home. There are boys that come through and their family are very willing to bring them back into their homes, because one of the things that we really do is work with the community to make sure that they understand what has happened, that there is the lowest chance of re-trafficking or other abuse happening, and that the whole community, especially the family, is going to welcome home that child, and that they will have the means necessary to not be in that poverty level of looking for a way anyway to make ends meet. So there's a lot of pieces that go into place there. So the boys recovery program is sort of like an entry point for the boys, but it's really looking at the boys' entire network holistically to figure out how it is that that particular boy won't have that sort of thing happen again. And then by doing so, their community gets raised up in the process. It's been around for a really long time, and we get a lot of funding from governments, but we always have to have some overlap. And this particular grant is, it marks about a little over a month, about 2 months of funding for the whole program. So it's a pretty significant piece for us. It's pretty amazing. And it's one of those things where we know that the work of One Day's Wages and the people that partner with One Day's Wages, and then those that then will come on and give through One Day's Wages to make that matching grant whole so that we can send those funds over. It does immense work immediately. It's probably the quickest that we see funds go in and be used effectively and immediately. So it's amazing to hear the stories of the boys that go through those programs.
It is, as Daphne mentioned, Afghanistan is a very complex environment in which to work. Um, Extreme poverty and human trafficking, of course, are correlated. And there are estimates at the moment that upwards of 86% of Afghan citizens are actually at risk for human trafficking and modern slavery. It's like an astronomical percentage. So, and what we have witnessed too, speaking with the country director in Afghanistan, again, it is an entirely national team. It's all Afghan nationals who are running these programs day in and day out. And I was speaking with the country director just the other day, and he said there has been an uptick in referrals over the past year. There are more and more and more boys in need of support than ever before. This type of support to rebuild their lives, to integrate into their communities, and to support those families to stop trafficking. To provide a life that's full and whole for these kids. So, yeah. Any other thoughts on your end, Daphne, on this partnership? We're thankful for it and excited about it.
Yeah, we are too. And I just, to reiterate, that really family-centered approach, I think, is so critical, because like you both shared, like every boy coming through the program has a network of people who know him and whose situation is unique. And so involving them in, like the counseling services provided and really working to make sure that the boys are able to reintegrate with their families and home communities whenever that's possible, I think is such an incredibly valuable piece of what you're doing, what your team is doing.
Thank you. Awesome.
Well, we will put in the comments. We will drop the link for the One Day's Wages campaign page for Hagar USA. All generous donations that go through that campaign portal will be matched up to $30,000 total.
Mm-hmm.
So, did I get that right, Daphne?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So, yeah, we just we rely on the generosity and compassion and support of this broader community, and thankful for One Day's Wages and for this incredible partnership opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Likewise.
yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone. And we will again be popping links in the comments and in the captions of this live. And we look forward to partnering with this wider community. Thanks so much.